Welcome to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I'm your host, Tenya Eichenberg, and this is a space where transformation begins. Here, we dive deep into energy healing, self-care, and the power of mindset to help you break free from old patterns and design a life that feels aligned, vibrant, and authentically you. Each week, we explore the tools, techniques, and real-life experience that guide us toward lasting healing and growth. Because true metamorphosis isn't just about change. It's about becoming who you were always meant to be. Now, let's get into this week's conversation. Welcome back to the Metamorphosis Project podcast. This is a solo episode. And if you're watching this on YouTube, please don't hate the look. I just got back from a walk, but I didn't want to take the time to go and shower, do my hair, put on makeup so that I could be all pretty for the camera. So this is the real raw deal that you're getting here. But as this is being recorded, my mother passed away about a week ago. She passed away on July 12th. And I have had quite a bit of complicated feelings coming up. And I was going to post all of this kind of stuff on Facebook and Instagram through my social media, but I thought it'd be a good place to just start doing these solo episodes because I want, first of all, I don't think I'm alone in how I'm feeling. I have boomer parents. I'm Generation X. And I grew up in a very, what I consider a chaotic environment. This is my story. And while I know it could always be worse, my childhood could always be worse than it actually was. It could always have been better as well. But I want to share my story so that others can take from it whatever they want and leave the rest. If you find value in what I'm sharing and it helps you to move forward, to stop surviving through your life and to start thriving and seeing what it is that that you can move towards and enjoy, great. If you don't like what you hear, scroll on. You don't have to sit around and listen. But I was talking, so my mom's been his passed for a week now, and when I first got the call, there was definitely shock. My mom, at the time of her death, was 70 years old, and she had a slew of medical conditions that she had to deal with. She had NF2, which is where tumors grow on your nerve endings. She had her first tumor removed, I think it was 1986 or 87. I can remember that we came back from England. My dad and my siblings stayed there for him to finish up his tour. And we came back to Michigan to live with my mom, not knowing at the time that my parents were actually separating for a period of time. But during the period of time that my brother, and my mom came back to the States, and my dad coming back in December, I think that is when my mom was diagnosed with the NF2 and she had a tumor on her ear. And so she had to stay behind in Ann Arbor in order to have that removed. And my dad took us and my older sister, me, my younger brother, my older sister, my dad all went to Idaho because that's where his next tour of duty was going to be. And so she had the NF2. She had fibromyalgia. She was diagnosed with being bipolar when I was around 8 years old. I think some of these might be a little bit foggy because I never really wrote down her story. And so I might sit down with my dad one time and actually write this story down if he's willing to do that. Um, and so I don't have I don't have very many memories from before I was 8 years old, and I might start babbling here, so I apologize. Um, but so a week ago, I find out that she passed away. It was definitely unexpected, but it was not a surprise. And I was shocked and dismayed, and I cried. Um, and I felt at the end of once I calmed down and I got off the phone with my dad, I felt like I was had a very dramatic moment. I can remember my best friend trying to hold me up. But when I look back, I believe that some of what I was feeling was relief. Not just relief for her because she's no longer in pain, but relief for the fact that I no longer have to hold on to this story. I no longer have to hold in how I'm feeling because I didn't want to hurt her feelings. I didn't want to have to, honestly, I was being um a coward in talking about this because I didn't want to have to um talk to her about my story, about my feelings, because I didn't want to continue hearing her excuses for her behavior. Um, and that, and I definitely feel guilt and shame around feeling that. But um, there was definitely relief that I didn't also have to deal with her behavior anymore. Um, but so my feelings around it are definitely complicated. They are, um, I feel like I should be sad. Like, I saw how my mom was when she lost her mom, and she was distraught for off and on for months. Even more recently, as far as like 5 or 6 years ago, um, she would bring it up how much she missed her, and it would make her cry, and just, it was horrible. Like, I can't imagine what all of those feelings kept doing to her energy, to her body, to her mind, and not being able to process that grief out. But on the other hand, I feel shame and guilt for not feeling that. I feel shame and guilt for not um feeling that deep loss of a parent. And I know there's other people out there who feel that way when they find out that their parent has passed, that they didn't have a good relationship with, and they feel like they should feel more sadness, more loss, more grief, and they don't. Um, and so we struggle with that. And so I've been definitely sitting with myself. I really didn't get to sit by myself with my feelings until the Monday after, no, the Wednesday after she passed. Because when I found out that she had passed, we were camping. And we didn't see any point in coming home, because one, my dad does not live where I live. He lives a few hours away from me, but we did go and see him. We did leave camping to go and see him, even though we were still a few hours away from where he was, where we were camping. I did go and see him. My brother did drive up, and we did spend some time together, just the three of us. And my dad is handling all of this in his own way, as my brother is. And so we decided just to go ahead and stay camping and enjoy the time with our friends that we were camping with, because there was nothing to come home to. So I could grieve there or I could grieve at home. Um, but I didn't have time to really sit with myself while we were camping. And so that Wednesday after her passing was the first day I was able to really sit with myself and really observe and analyze my feelings. And that's when I came to the realization at that point that um, right now it doesn't feel like she has passed because of how our relationship was. Um, We didn't see each other very often because of the geographical distance of where we were. My parents lived in a campground, and so we would have to make reservations at the campground. So we would have to make sure we had that in the budget. My husband would have to take time off so that we could leave on a Friday and spend, valuable time with them. And they didn't come to our house very often because they had 4 cats and a dog and really couldn't be gone for more than a night. And so there was just a lot of logistics that just played into being able to have a relationship. Um, Towards the end, my mom was not very good at talking on the phone. She couldn't articulate her words very well, and so there was that. And she did not email or text, partially because of um, some of the medical things that she had going on, and partially because she didn't want to communicate that way. So yeah, I've been dealing with these feelings, and um, I'm talking to people, I'm reading books, I'm researching, I'm allowing myself to have these feelings. I'm looking at pictures, I'm listening to her voice, I'm, watching videos that she was in, and I'm going to, I guess, prepare myself as much as I can for if the moment shifts and changes where that loss really comes up and um, hits me. But I don't know if it will. Um, and I think that's okay. I know that's okay. But if you're listening to this, know that if you have those complicated feelings, that it's okay to have those complicated feelings. But some of these solo episodes, as I go into my podcast becoming more of a solo podcast, I will talk more about growing up in the home that I grew up in, and with the looking at it from just a different perspective and through a different filter than I did just 10 years ago. And I almost wish I had started recording these things 10 years ago so I could hear the difference in how I told the stories. But if you know me, you may have heard some of the stories before, and so you can, you can make your own judgments. But thank you so much for listening to this episode today on beginning to navigate grief. Yeah, beginning to navigate grief um, at the loss of a parent that you didn't have a close relationship with. So if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, and you feel like you're kind of in the same boat, or maybe your parent is still alive and you're wondering how is it going to be when they pass, drop your thoughts down below, and I'll be happy to converse with you and, let you know that you're not alone in having these feelings. But thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for joining us on the Metamorphosis Project podcast. I hope today's episode brought you inspiration, joy, and a spark of empowerment. Remember, transformation is an incredible journey, and every single step you take towards self-care and healing brings you closer to the life you truly desire. If this episode uplifted you, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform. Your support helps us to share this journey of hope, resilience, and joy with many listeners. For more tips, support, and inspiration, come and visit us at designyourexistence.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep healing, and keep shining brightly. You are absolutely worth every bit of love and care you give to yourself. Take care, stay joyful, and be well.